and welcome to the Booksplosion of the Month live show for November. Is that what month is?
Is it lagging for you?
Yeah, it's lagging for me. I think you're good now, though. Talk.
Hello. Welcome to the Booksplosion live show for the Gilded Wolves by ROSHANI CHOKSHI. We're going to be discussing this book in detail, a little non-spoilery section, and then we'll get into spoilers. But before we start with this, we should announce our December book of the month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for December, we're going to finally...
No, wait, we're frozen on the live stream. Like, it's just loading for me. Is it loading for you guys?
I don't have it up because my internet can't handle that.
Okay, right now it's just like, so, not sure we should continue. Let me refresh it. Oh, wait, okay, it just came back to life. Hold on, I'm refreshing.
We're good.
Okay, it's back. It's back.
Is it good? Okay.
Yeah.
So for
it's just loading again. Okay, it's back.
It's good on my screen. I can see.
Okay, good.
So for December, we're going to finally be reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. We were going to read this earlier in the year, but it got kind of pushed back. So now we are reading it for our December book of the month. It's been out for a while now, so y'all should have plenty of time to have gotten to it if you're interested in that. Or if you've been waiting to read it, now's a great time to read it so you can join us for our discussion at the end of December.
This is the page I'm on.
I've already finished it.
This is the page I'm on.
Great job. And I think it's gonna, since I have already finished it, I can say that there's a lot of interesting things to discuss.
Oh, yeah.
It should prove to be an interesting discussion at the least. I have complicated feelings about this book, but
I'm scared of it.
I mean,
I don't think you should be scared of it.
It's just really intense. Like in the time when we were supposed to read it, the world was so intense that like it was really anxiety inducing to like pick this up on top of everything that was going on.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
We follow President Snow, right?
Yes, Coriolanus
So
Snow.
do we see a game through his eyes, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
We see the 10th Hunger Games.
Okay.
We see an early one, and that's when the games are still being like formed and created. Like
It's so like that's what makes it kind of horrifying. Like knowing where it goes, and you find out how it gets to the games that we know today.
Gotcha.
And yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with this book, this is a companion novel to the Hunger Games trilogy that takes place, like 60 years before the
65, I think it is. Yeah, because it's the 10th Hunger Games and we're at the 75th.
Yeah, where Snow is just he's either like freshly graduated or about to graduate high school. Do you remember this, Christine?
Yeah, I do. He's a senior, and so do you want to know more than that? He's a senior in high school.
He's a student. He's a youngin in this book.
Yeah, he's a senior in high school.
And as like part of it's like part of a graduation project kind of thing is to work on the games in the
it's the first year they're bringing in mentors for the games, and they are the mentors, like the people, the students, and each student gets assigned one of the tributes to be their mentor, and like it's special if you were chosen to be a mentor because there's not enough people obviously for the whole class to be a mentor for the person in the games.
Yeah, so this is what we're going to be reading in December. We have our live show scheduled for Saturday, December 19th. It'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern time right here on this channel, as per usual. Also, it's our last live show of the year, which, as per tradition, is always a really fun one because after we're done talking about the book, We do like superlatives for our favorite Booksplosion books of the years, and give various awards and like rank all of the Booksplosion books we read this year. So that's always a real fun time. Even if you don't want to read this book and join us for the spoilery discussion, you might want to come back for the second half of the show as we talk about non-spoilery in general reflections of our Booksplosion reading year.
Yep. It's a fun one.
It's the fun one. For now, let us discuss The Gilded Wolves. This is the first book. Okay, is it a duology or a trilogy?
I think it's duology, Jesse said last time.
I believe it's actually longer.
But there was another book that said it was a trilogy. So now I'm not sure.
If you're watching this and you know, please tell us, because we're confused.
Someone just said, what's the December book? It's a Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes we just discussed.
Do one of you guys want to give a brief little synopsis of The Gilded Wolves? Or I can do it. I just feel like I've been talking so much.
I can do it if you want. Okay. Okay. So, The Gilded Wolves takes place in Paris in 1899 or 1890, 1889. And so it takes place in like a world similar to ours, but there's something called forging, which is basically like you have an affinity for a type of magic, and it's fueled by these mysterious Babel fragments that kind of date back to like the Tower of Babel. And that story, I believe it's a story in the Bible. I'm not 100%, so don't quote me there. But when it was like one of the wonders of the world, there was a Tower of Babel that supposedly, like rose to the heavens or whatever. And then when that was destroyed, every piece of it, this is like kind of what we hear, but we don't really know what the Babel fragments are. Where every piece landed is like a center for forging, and like some people are born with this forging ability, and some people can forge like solids, some people can do mind forging where they can like kind of have mind powers over you and stuff like that. And there's a certain families that like are in power in the forging community, and they're different houses. And like two of these houses have fallen, and one of our characters is the rightful heir to one of these houses. So they haven't technically fallen because he's there to be an heir. And so the quest in the Gilded Wolves is to reinstate him as the heir to his house so that his house can come back into the fold of the order, it's hard to explain. There's a lot of like world building groundwork to go through, but there's basically a crew. And in order for Severin to like, who's the guy who wants to be reinstated as the head of house that has fallen, House Vance, I believe it is. And in order to be reinstated, they need to acquire this artifact. So the novel is them trying to like figure out all these different riddles with his crew. He has like a group of friends that work together to try to like heist this artifact. And so they all have different specialties and affinities. Like one's the historian, one's the mathematician. Layla is a dancer/baker, and she can like read stuff with her, like when she touches things, she can know their history. So they've all got special affinities, and they work together to heist this artifact, but things go awry along the way.
That
was good. That was solid.
Yeah. Hey, there's so much to the world and like the complexities of our situation.
Yeah.
We have 4 point of view characters. It's kind of an ensemble cast. So it takes a little bit to like get grounded into the story and to like get to know all the characters and to follow everything. But like Christine got the basic thing down where we're Severin is like the leader of the gang kind of, and we're trying to reinstate him as the rightful heir to House Vance.
House Vance. Yeah. It's complicated to explain. Like it's one of those books where you have to like read and kind of like get into the world and the mythology. because we still are learning about it. Like just even having finished the book, I don't feel completely solid on it yet. And I think maybe as you go along with the other books, you'll start to learn more about the inner workings of how like the magic system works. But like the most fun part of this book is the characters, like that crew and how they work together and their relationships with each other are the best part of this book.
Yeah, agree. That was my favorite part as well. I really enjoyed the characters. Like I've been thinking all day, like who's my favorite character, and it's hard to choose one because I have like a couple that I could narrow down to like my favorite characters. But they all were so distinct and had like not only their own roles to play like in the crew of like accomplishing tasks, but also just like their own personalities that like complemented each other and just all the different dynamics between the members of the group. And I love their banter. Like the dialogue was one of my favorite parts. A lot of their banter was just really fun. The world building though was a little, it wasn't necessarily confusing because I was able to like follow it enough that I got what was going on. It was just hard to feel like I had a good working knowledge of it. Like one thing that I love doing in books is making predictions of like what's going to happen. And I feel like I could not do that at all because I just had like no idea like what were the
I felt the same way.
Yeah,
like especially like with the riddles, like a lot of them were like I like to be able to figure out the riddles, and like they were so complex and like math based that it was more like I can't even try to really follow this and figure it out myself, which like that's half my excitement with riddles. Like I want to be able to try it, but it was like you have to be like versed in like
I was literally thinking that when I was reading, I was like, I wonder if Christine's like able to figure these out.
I was just like, they went so fast too, like it's like a Fibonacci sequence, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, that was another thing. As soon as they were introduced, it only took like a couple pages before we were kind of like moving on to the next thing.
Yeah,
you didn't really have enough time to like work through it or like piece together clues. Like you couldn't figure out the clues from things that happen in the book. You had to have like internal knowledge of like mathematics and history and all sorts of things to be able to maybe piece it together.
Mm-hmm. That's probably was my most frustrating bit of the book because like I love riddles and stuff, and with like the Dan Brown riddles, even though they're like based in art and stuff, like you can think them through and like kind of get it right sometimes, and like sometimes I will get it and I'll be like so excited, and these I was like, God damn it, like, what is this? I don't have any idea. Like it was so mathy.
Very mathy.
But I do know my favorite character was Hypnos. And also Enrique, but I think Hypnos I like better because it was so misunderstood. Like, why did anybody understand that Hypnos had no friends and he just wanted to be friends? Like, friends. It was like so obvious that he just wanted friends. And like, why are you guys being so
I mean, I get it because the whole group is kind of ostracized from the order, and Hypnos is a part of the order. So, like, I kind of get their apprehension about him, but, like, it was so obvious that he just wanted to be friends. And, like, him and Severin were friends when they were youngins. I know that, like, because Hypnos got inducted into the order and Severin didn't, that like, caused a break in their relationship. But still, like, Hypnos was so fun, and he just
I know. And they would like say something kind of mean and be like, "Oh my God, we're friends now, so this is great."
But yeah, Jesse, what were do you have anything to add to?
I agree with pretty much everything you guys have said. I really loved like the found family aspect. I just loved our crew of characters. Like they were all so great. And I felt like I got to really know them really well. Out of everything with this book, like I felt like the characters were the strongest point. I also really love her writing style. Like I feel like she has a really like vivid writing style. You can pretty much picture everything. But I too really struggled with just like the magic system and the world. I just kind of had to overlook things and just kind of go with it and be like, okay, it's fine. Like this is how it's working. But I was confused the majority of the book, but it didn't really like take away my enjoyment of the book necessarily because I still had like the characters to like follow and like enjoy the journey that they were going on and stuff. But it was still really confusing the majority of the way through. So.
Yeah, like the characters were very grounding, even if a lot of the world building elements were not. But again, it wasn't like I got a clear picture of the actions that we were doing. It was like the rules of the magic system that eluded me.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I feel like I wasn't clear on a lot of like the action sequences because I would think one thing and then something else would happen and like people would just be there. Like when they were, remember that one with the fireball?
Well, let's talk about spoilers now.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, those were our thoughts for the non-spoilery section, like the book in general. But yeah, let's talk about spoilers so we can discuss some of these world building things, and maybe we can amongst ourselves work out some of the confusion.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to ask us those. And
if you can help explain the world and the magic system too, that'd be great.
Okay, Christine, tell us about this fireball.
Okay, like I was trying so hard to follow this scene because like it had riddles and like it felt like it was going to be exciting, but I just feel like it kind of turned into like a mush ball when I was trying to like figure out spatially what it looked like, you know, like so they go down under the garden, right, to this like secret library, and then they trigger this fireball that's like very slowly coming for them, but I have no idea where it's coming from. Like I pictured it like Indiana Jones, but since it was so slow coming, I was like, maybe it's not. And then they were like swirling around a pedestal, and I was like, are they on molten lava? Like swirling in circles and like pieces of land. That's what it felt like. They were like playing lava to get to that pedestal, but then like there were levers, and and on the ceiling there was like a swirl, and that's when the Fibonacci sequence came into play. And so they finally like figure it out and pull the levers, and like I don't know where the levers were. Like I had no idea what this looked like. I'm trying to picture it, and I'm just like, I don't understand where anything is. And then they did it, and then Hypnos and Severin just like appear there. Like I don't understand how they got there so easily. I was like, hold up! If you guys were just like in a fireball pit underneath the garden, I'm very confused. They use it to fill in each lever, but then how do Hypnos and Severin just get there? Like, and then they go up and see
because
Tristan.
Enrique remembers the sequence.
Yeah, but where the fuck did they come from? They weren't in there with them.
This is where I was confused. I feel like the library underground and the library above ground are somehow connected, and like that's where they came from. Because what confused me was after they're in that underground library and they fight off the I forgot what it was called, the like monster that was guarding the eye. Then Hypnos is like, I have something for you, and he had the black box that he had put in the above ground library earlier. And that was like somehow now down in the underground one.
Yeah, that's what was very confusing, because if they could get to there with just a key from earlier, like, because they give them a key, like Enrique gives them a key or something. Why did they have to go down there? You know, like why did they have to go down there the scary way?
I don't know. Also, what confused me about the levers and like inputting the code, the sequence, when I heard levers, I pictured like an up-down lever.
Me too. I'm so confused. What was it?
I don't know. But if it's not up, like how do you program the number 200 and whatever in a lever? Like
I don't know. This is very hard, that scene. Like it was like a crux of this section, but like I didn't get it. Like I was frustrated because I really wanted to, and I was just like, how is this coming together? I don't understand where spatially what's happening.
Yeah, that was one of the parts where I didn't have a good grasp of spatially where I was. But like for most of throughout most of the book, I did have a good grasp.
I was confused again at the end. Like at the end when they were underground, right? For the catacombs.
Mm-hmm.
And then Enrique and Zofia and Hypnos were like looking down on them, and I don't know from where.
One of those mirrors, one of those like mirror portal things.
Was it in the floor?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Jesse doesn't remember. Like, I just wish I understood these things because like they snag my like view of things when I'm like, I don't know what it looked like, so I can't picture the movie right. Because that's, I don't know, I'm very visual when I'm reading. I just feel like I usually like see everything and I'm like, I can't see it, I'm confused.
Through a Tex Cat reflection pool. Oh, Tez Cat, excuse me.
Okay, so if it's through a Tez Cat reflection pool, like, how does she light the fire and it just like goes, you know? And then they're just there. And like, it was just a very, like, those crux scenes are confusing for me. Like, I love everything in between with all the characters is great. And like the planning and like the sadness about Tristan. Spoilers.
I mean, we're in the spoiler section.
But yeah, those big scenes, I was like, I don't get it.
And speaking of that Tristan scene at the end, that was another scene that, like, I could picture what was going on, but it still felt very abrupt. Because I don't know what happened to the bad guy. Like, his name was Rose Jobert. Like, he came in, he threw his hat, and then what happened to him? Did they apprehend him? Did he escape again? Is he coming back to the next book? Like, how did he escape the first time? And like, he came directly here to the party, and like, it just was there to like kill Tristan. And
I thought he was dying. Like, wasn't he dying before? And he was, and the doctor was like, "Well, maybe you're gonna die." Like.
So is he still alive is my question.
Probably.
I think he's gotta be.
Yeah. He'll probably be like, do you think he'll be the big villain at there?
Well, I don't know, because the rest of the Fallen House is going to be the big baddie. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bear was just our baddie for this book.
Also,
disposable. Like, he did his wahaha business. Now we can move on.
Got a blast.
The actual Fallen House.
Right.
So, like, okay, the Fallen House. Why is the Fallen House called the Fallen House, and like House Vance is not a Fallen House? You know, like,
because House Vance is just, they lost their last heir 10 years ago, so the house just kind of like quietly died out. Whereas the Fallen House was like up to some big bad evil, and so they have been like completely eliminated from the history books. They don't even have a name anymore. Like, you're not allowed to talk about them. They're the Fallen House.
Okay, yeah, and we ended with like Severin apparently is not the actual heir, and Veronica just said who is the legitimate heir. I mean, it has to be somebody we know.
I feel like the legitimate heir was Tristan.
Yeah, that's what I was
maybe. Yeah,
it was my theory. In the earlier parts of the book, I thought Tristan was the heir to the Fallen House, like a lost heir to the Fallen House. Like, that's why the baddies kidnapped him and like needed him, and he was so important. But now that we find out that Severin isn't the heir to House Vance, what if he's the heir to the Fallen House?
That's what I think too, and I think somebody has manipulated his like memories of it all.
Maybe
from the past. But
yeah, I like that theory. Yeah, Tristan. You know what I was thinking? Like, are they going to bring back Tristan because apparently necromancy is a thing?
Probably. I mean, what's the limit to the magic system?
I don't know.
But necromancy is only a thing if you're quick enough, and I feel like they weren't quick enough with Tristan.
You know what I thought was going to happen when he tried to take off the helmet? I thought it was going to be welded to his head, and he was going to accidentally murder him and rip off his head. But that didn't happen. But yeah, I don't understand really how he was manipulated into thinking that he'd be saving them by betraying them. I wish that was explained by Tristan.
I kind of got it when we found out what was going on with the birds in the greenhouse, how Tristan had been like taking off their wings and like being like, you don't need to fly to like be okay. Is that like just Tristan is so traumatized from what has happened in his life that like he is so seeking security and safety that he was able to be manipulated to think that like if Severin just gave up his quest of like trying to become the patriarch of House Vanth, and if he just like lived a quiet life, he would be okay. So I feel like that's how they manipulated him.
I was also actually wondering if like we get that revelation that like Tristan has been killing those birds or whatever, which kind of screams killer to me. Was Tristan the one killing his fathers?
I thought it was Severin.
You think it's Severin?
Yeah,
I don't know, but that like
I thought it was
killing thing was like that just seems really killery to me.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I kept thinking it was Goliath.
Goliath.
He wasn't killing the birds. He
he just like
taking off their wings.
But also that's so very cool.
That's worse.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't even that one. I missed that. That's torturing them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially because like the recaps of their fathers throughout the year was from Severin's point of view, and like because Severin was knowledgeable about like the methods of their death, I kind of felt like Severin was doing it.
Yeah, I didn't think that Severin's parents all died. I thought like there was a couple that they were like, and then they
not all of them,
but
that's why I thought that Roger Robert was one comeback was like gluttony or something, or like. And also, okay, this is confusing me. Did he nickname them all? He nicknamed them all the seven sins, right?
They're nicknamed after sins, yeah.
Okay, I was like, their names cannot be this.
I thought that was their names.
And I thought when they were just talking about the first one, Wrath, I was like, okay, that's his name. That's an interesting name. But by the time the next one, I was like, oh, we're doing a 7 deadly sins thing.
Well, and then the hotel is like the 7 deadly sins, isn't it? Eden. It's like all themed. So yeah, and kind of
everything in this world was kind of themed around mythology because like there's like Hypnos. His house is, what is his house called? Erebus or something like that. And there's like the forged river Styx, and like all the underworld things for the other house.
Yeah, very like opulent order gathering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Luke Yin said, "Wait, I thought Severin's dad never died. I thought he was just a different person as Severin grew metaphorically."
Oh.
No, they were passed along through foster father.
Yeah, I think they were passed along. Huh. There's a lot of stuff that feels like kind of shaky, and it's hard to discern.
You mentioned that Severin's parents died in a house fire when he was like 10 years old.
Yeah, I remember that.
Or 7 years old. He was 7 and his parents died in a house fire. And then he was like given to different foster families. So I remember in the second one, not Wrath, but I forgot who the second one was. But that was the one with like the family that was trained for like a week, and then they're like, I thought you said they were heirs, and it's like, oh, they're not actually heirs, and we only get like the small payment every month to like care. So that like the foster families and like passed around thing.
Yeah. Who's taking care of that poor tarantula? Everyone was taking care of him. They felt so bad. Layla and Severin will take care of them. Well, not when they're in wherever they're going for that meeting. Russia, yeah. Oh, they're so annoying with their like not pretending not to like each other thing. I was like,
I get it, especially
come on.
Especially after we learned about Severin's last father, the lust one, and so like how that like warped his feelings about lust and love.
Yeah.
Like, I got why he would want to avoid it and like avoid that attachment, and why also Layla would want to, because she has a death sentence when she turns 19.
Yeah, but she said that she just wants to live now because of what Tristan changed.
Yeah, but she was so guilty because when the baddie came in and killed Tristan, Severin thought he was aiming for Layla and like tackled Layla out of the way and let Tristan die.
Oh, yeah.
Guilty about it, and he was lashing out in the worst possible
The worst possible way.
The worst possible way.
Yeah,
he
but
showed
like,
no mercy.
He lashed out, but I don't necessarily forgive him because that was so awful.
Yeah.
I don't know, to me it just felt like such a clear lie, because he was like, they were so obsessed with that one night. I was like, enough already. Can you just talk to each other, okay? Like, that one night came back every day.
Well, the thing is, even she could tell that it was a clear lie.
Yeah, yeah.
Until he threw her like deepest insecurity and like the thing that she feels the worst about into her face, that like that became unforgivable.
Yeah, I can see how she could be very mad, but I still think like he should just talk to her. Like, get over it, Severin.
Well, they're gonna have for the next 3 weeks in Russia. They have to pretend that they're
dating.
so something's gonna happen.
Yeah. Let me see. Who's Jagarar? Forger.
Rose Jobert, the bad guy?
No, Layla was forged by someone called Jagarar.
Oh, I missed the name.
I just see it in the chat.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the limitations on things.
Okay.
Especially in regards to, like, the sort of necromancy. Like, Layla was stillborn, and then they moved her soul into a different body or brought her body back. So, like, it's not super common.
Oh, witch doctor.
But, like, it's a possibility in this world.
Sorry, what's a possibility? I was reading the chat.
Necromancy, sort of.
Oh, yeah, necromancy. Oh, yeah, definitely. So that's the thing. Like, Tristan might be brought back if that's possible. Or maybe he brought back in a way that's not good. Like, Layla was done quick enough. But, like, maybe they'll try to be desperate enough to try to bring him back, and then he'll be a zombie.
I think so much time has passed.
Yeah.
At the end of
that's what the zombie.
I just don't think it's possible at this point.
I think it's possible with dark magic.
Maybe.
I will say that there doesn't seem to be any limits with the magic, so it's like
that's why the magic is cute. Like, okay, can we talk about sphinxes? Like, are they beings? Are they people with sphinx masks?
What I got was they were people with the masks.
Oh.
And because
it sounds like they're separate beings.
Yeah, I felt like they were more like creatures of some sort.
But when they were talking about how they like adjusted the Sphinx schedule, like that sounds like a very human sort of like, are you on?
That's why it was confusing, because they're like, they'll sniff them out and like they automatically record things, like, so they're like video.
The masks. If the masks that they wear detect someone stealing, they like automatically like the masks like come to life in like crocodile style. And like there's that one part where like one of the masks like came to life and like grabbed someone's arm. Grabbed a thief's arm and was like.
You mean the bear in the beginning?
No, this was a scene when
when they were at that thing when Layla danced.
I think it was from Zophia's point of view, where like one of the Sphinx guards was like taking a supposed thief away and like had the mask was
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
I feel like that would make sense. They think that they're
half human.
Yeah, that could be a possibility too.
Yeah, it was like not exactly clear because I thought at first they were just masked humans, but then like some of the stuff that they did sounded really like
Everyone was able to disguise himself as one.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, is it just they wear like Dementors, like they have a humanoid shape, you know? I don't know. Yeah, I do feel like we have a Gilded Wolves scholar
We
in
do.
the chat.
We appreciate you.
But yeah, and then there was also like little bugs that could record stuff.
Yeah, the I don't know how you say it, nano devices.
Are you guys or am I frozen?
Hello.
Hi. Okay, I can hear you.
I don't know what they're called, but yeah, they are like little recording devices that can also like project holograms, so like you can get like an exact visual.
Nemo bugs. Nemo bugs.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, they said. I think they're a Nemo in the book. I mean, in the audiobook.
Yeah, they're spelled like MNEMO. So I was like,
okay. Yeah, I thought of Nemo because I kept hearing them say Nemo bugs. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, shall we discuss some of our favorite parts?
I loved the scene where Hypnos and Layla had their big dramatic lovers quarrel, like to like,
I like that too.
And to like trigger the Sphinxes to like go after the house marked cuffs. Because that was just fun. And I loved Hypnos getting more involved with the gang.
How did you guys feel about the like love triangle thing that's developing?
Oh.
Really sad for Zofia.
I know.
And also, like, I don't know, I just wanted this to happen earlier so they know that he likes Hypnos or that he's good. Like, I wish that, because he sounded like he was interested in Zofia, so like I wish he just said something maybe before the book ended.
I liked it because I like Enrique with both of them. Like, I think they both.
I was like, are there going to be like a threesome?
They might be.
They could too, because like Hypnos and Zofia had a good relationship as well.
I know. Yeah. I was like, this is interesting, but I just left out right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that made me sad for her. Like, I like Enrique and Hypnos together, but especially because Zofia didn't only take it as like sort of a romantic disappointment, but she took it so much harder as like, I'm not a part of that world at all. Yeah. I belong like away from other people. Like that's what made it so much worse than like so much more painful.
I know, it was really sad. Because she's like finally felt like she understood and was like wanted and
she felt like she belonged, and then it was like it was taken away. But it wasn't taken away. You still belong.
Let's see.
Oh, do we have other favorite moments?
Yeah. Oh, I really liked all the Enigma stuff. I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And, like, I like this scene where she is getting ready and she's looking for like her necklace that like turns into her mask, and she eats that ball thing that explodes all over her. And I like when she's at in like her dressing room and Hypnos comes in and is like, hey, we have like a second to save Enrique and Sakura. Let's do this.
I liked all the Hypnos scenes because
he really lights up a room.
And he was always so game. He was like, what's the plan, guys?
I just want to be friends.
Remember when they were like, Layla, this is actually one of my favorites. Like, Layla, so do you remember the plan? And he comes in and he's like, this is this. And it's like so long. And then afterwards, Sever's just like, are you Layla? He's like, no. Layla, and he has the same question. And she's just like, what he said.
That was, I love so much of their like group banter like that.
Yeah. Poor Hypnos. He's the Jerry, and it's sad. Jesse, do you have a favorite bit?
I highlighted some scenes, but I can't find any of them.
I like what Stanislaw, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, said about like deconstructing the glamour of the time period and showing the ugly stuff.
There we go.
With the colonialism. She did really do a really good job with all of that. And yeah, I like everyone's separate backstory, kind of like gave more background about just like the time and what's going on. And like I think I can't remember like the group that Enrique is trying to join, what it's called, but like it's I think the Philippines are trying to be independent from Spain. Is that what's going on? I can't remember anymore because I didn't take notes, but yeah, it was like really nice to have all those like really in-depth backstories going on. I almost wish like we got kind of more storylines in there. I know we were like all doing this heist, but like I liked everyone's kind of separate line. And I like, and Sophia going to school and like her sister, and there was just, and Layla, of course, with her like her being forged out of different people. Like they have really interesting separate backstory stories that aren't like complete. Like we could go into them, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited about in the future books is exploring more of each character's like own personal journey. Like the adventure, like the heisting and the questing is fun, but like when we found out about Layla's story, like I got so invested immediately. I was like, oh, she has like this time limit and like she has to find this book to figure out like if she's going to be able to like live past the age of 19. And also like the heartbreaking aspect of her father, like not caring about her anymore, like after her mom passed away. That's part of the reason why she became one of my other favorite characters. Her and Zofia, I really loved both of them. In addition to Hypnos, who was just like super fun. Like Layla and Zofia's stories, I got like more invested in.
Ooh, okay, so our expert on the Gilded Wolves said that Zofia has a big backstory in book 2, and then Layla's story is huge in the second book as well.
So good.
That to look forward to.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like, again, like you said, we're not really seeing any one character's like emotional journey in this book, and I think that's something I craved while reading it. Like we were seeing with this heist and the stuff that we need to do to advance to whatever's next, but like not really seeing their like personal arcs happening.
It was a lot of external plot happening, and like, as far as internal plot, it was just a lot of setup for like the series as a whole. That's kind of why one of my favorite parts of the whole book was the end after like the climactic battle scene, but like when we had the more character-centric scenes, like the moment where Zofia saw Enrique and Hypnos kissing and was like sad about that, and then like of course the whole miscommunication and like bad event between Severin and Layla, like that whole lashing out and like fallout of their relationship, and then like how they have to be working together still in the coming book.
Yep. I feel like the coming book will be, it just feels like we've set up the world so that we could dive more into the characters, which I look forward to because they're like the best part of the book, and they're so rich in different like aspects of it. Like they're so well-rounded, all of them, and you want to just like stick with them personally and like get to know them better and see their internal journeys.
Yeah, so I looked up on Goodreads and it looks like there is at least a third book. And the author's note did say trilogy, so I'm assuming we're sticking with trilogy. I don't know why I thought this was a duology.
I know, I did too.
I thought it was a series, but like had no basis to think that. Like, assume. But yeah, I'm excited to see more character-driven plot.
Definitely.
Like, I am excited about this fake dating, because obviously it'll lead to real dating.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. What else do we want to discuss, y'all?
I mean, think Hypnos is going to become a point of view character in the next book, right?
Should I spoil
hopefully.
You know. I mean, I would assume so, because he had a point of view chapter at the end of this one, and like he's also going to Russia, so like one would assume he is now part of the gang.
Wow, why did I miss that he had a point of view chapter? Maybe I was just like listening and didn't even pick up that he didn't.
It was only like 2 pages, and it was just where we had the reveal.
the reveal. Oh yeah,
that Severin is not.
Okay.
I reread it again after formulating my theory to see like if it was specific about he's not an heir or he's not the heir of House Vanth, and it's always said not the heir of House Vanth, but it's never said that he's not an heir.
Yeah,
and especially we have the part where like he saw the ring turn blue before like the ring test was like completed.
I'm not seeing a Hypnos point of view.
But he'll still be there.
He'll be there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, at the end, when she was like, "Do you want me to do the test?" He was like, "No, I can't even do it anymore." I was like, "Why wouldn't you just do it though?" Severin, you're being really angstful in this moment. Yeah. I know he didn't do it because we didn't want him to find out. Like, that's why. But I was like, why wouldn't you do it?
But I mean, he's also... It was so soon after Tristan died, and he's still like reeling from that. And
his whole life has been about getting back onto
Tristan's whole thing was like he didn't want him to.
But like he was never clear about that. It was like subtext.
Severin is obviously doing a lot of misguided things at the end of the book.
I was frustrated with Severin at the end of the book. Like, what are you doing?
Did you guys like suspect that Tristan was gonna die since we didn't have point of view? Like, were you?
I didn't suspect he was gonna die. I suspected that he was the heir for the fallen house, and like he was gonna be swayed to the dark side or something like that. Because we didn't have a point of view from him, so like I was always a little suspicious of him. Also, he seemed like too suspicious of Hypnos, and I was like, "What's your beef with Hypnos? Why do you dislike him so much?"
I thought that he was like I thought it was someone else glamored as Tristan the whole time, like a Mad Eye Moody sort of situation, because they kept saying how tired he looked and how weird he was acting.
Yeah, I feel like there was something going on. So here's the thing: is there is this was only mentioned like a couple times, but it made me suspicious of everyone throughout the entire book. Is the mirror powder. Where like Enrique used it early in the book to like make himself look like someone else, so he could like walk through the party and like look like another person.
But only lasts like a minute though.
Yeah, it only lasts like a minute, but it still made me really suspicious. There's this one moment where Layla comes out of nowhere to Enrique and is like, "Here's this antidote that you have to take that I got from the guard. Bye, see you later." And she was like, "For a minute," and I was like, this is gonna come back to bite you in the ass, like the wrong antidote. Especially because Enrique was a little suspicious about it. He was like, Tristan didn't mention an antidote. Like Layla wasn't even supposed to be here. Like, what's going on? But then like that never came out to be anything.
Yeah.
And also, people like Hypnos can like do illusions and like make you think that
that's what I thought maybe was going on with Tristan. Yeah. Like maybe Tristan is not Tristan, it's an illusion of Tristan, or like because during that heist we knew that something was wrong with Tristan, and I was like, it's not him. Let's be curious. It's an imposter, and then it never was. He was just like being manipulated. I thought Tristan was gonna die once we saw him with like the Phobos hat on like 50 years later. And they're like, why is it still on him? And I was like, okay. He's a god, they're about to yank off his head.
This is a mood.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was like, is he in his early 20s or is he like 16?
His age is never mentioned. I feel like nobody's age is mentioned.
You know what?
Once, like,
he might.
Age is mentioned.
Yeah, they might be early 20s then.
I don't think he is because
or 19.
It's mentioned that his house fell 10 years ago, and then it's mentioned that his house fell when he was 7. So he's 17, presumably.
Well, I guess it is olden times where like 17 was grown up.
Sure.
I mean, it was more like you could drink, you could do things.
Also, what is like the of age here? Because he wasn't supposed to get his inheritance until he was of age.
I feel like it's like 15 or 16.
It must be.
Yeah.
He's not like a brand new, like just now became the owner of this hotel.
He felt like he was at least 19. Like I felt like he had to be. Obviously, they're not
early 20s to me, honestly.
Yeah,
yes. And I think like they probably kind of are, but because this is YA, she had to make it really obscure.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to like say ages and have them in there.
Yeah,
like there's a huge thing. Like a huge thing. Like I had my characters 19 and 21, and they're like, "Can you make them 20 and 18?" I'm just like, I think they're both turning that age in the next month.
And the
funny thing is, this is from Wednesday Books, and Wednesday is like one of the imprints that will get away with it.
Right.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
And Carry On in Wayward Son, anyways, they're like in their early 20s, or they're like 20.
Yeah, but they don't mention it often because it's not. Because the thing is, even if Wednesday wants to do it, Barnes and Noble has to put it in their YA section because they don't have a section for that.
It's so ridiculous that like storytelling is sacrificed for like weird book marketing politics. It's
so annoying.
Let them be 20.
Like they're still young adults. Can you just
I mean, also this book, I feel like it almost could have been adult fantasy. Like there was nothing that felt like inherently YA about it, and especially with the complexity of the world building and like the multiple point of views, that's something that you see more in adult fantasy rather than
it almost might have done better might have been like more grounded feeling as an adult fantasy because she would have had more, even pages to flesh out what's like exactly the system is. And I think that's something that maybe she didn't put as much in because it felt like too long and too wordy.
Exactly. It's like books like Victoria Schwab's Darker Shade of Magic, which is adult, but like they're in their very early 20s and it has plenty of appeal for young adult audiences.
Definitely.
And like this book was similar in tone and like felt like an age range, except for the fact that this book didn't have as much room to like do things.
Right. Is Christina loading screen for you?
She's loading screen for me.
I was like, what just happened? What just happened?
Am I gone?
No, there's another Christine down here.
Oh shit! I think my internet dropped out.
Yeah, away.
Yeah.
I feel like we're just about ready to wrap up, anyways.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thanks for reading The Gilded Wolves with us. And next month we are going to be reading A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
It's a big one.
They match, which is really nice. Look at this. What is the Gilded Wolves? Yeah.
It's got a pretty thing on it.
Ooh, it has the oar's eye.
Oh, how about the compass?
Oh, well, the compass has the oar's eye in the middle, so.
Oh, Jesse, what does the compass have? I want to see it. No,
Wait, no!
What?
silvered serpents. You have silvered serpents, don't you?
Oh. I think you said, what is it about? Sorry, I didn't hear. Oh, it just has a little snake, but you can hardly see it.
Oh man. Yeah. They didn't get as pretty of a thing on that one.
Oh, no. And it doesn't have deckled edges either.
Oh, I know why they don't have deckled edges.
Yep.
But yeah, very excited to finally discuss Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like, there's so much to talk about here.
Good discussion. And yeah, we're going to be doing that on Saturday, December 19th. So give this a read. Join us for the discussion. It'll be a real good time. Until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us for this live show. I'm Kat.
I'm Christine.
I'm Jesse.
We're Booksplosion, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.